Welcome in, seeing Scarlet. It is your typical Red Raiders here with you, Sibby. It's Shelby, and I have a really important question to ask y'all. And do y'all hear that? Oh, oh, that's the victory bells ringing from Texas Tech. However many games that we're going to talk about, soccer, volleyball,
6-0 on the weekend between those
went
two.
to town, and we have all the updates, all the information, all the stats, all the fun records question mark that we're going to get into. And it is a great time to be a Red Raider. Classes started this last week, so all of it is just perfect.
I love it. Yeah, we are excited to be here again for y'all. Fun stuff ahead in this episode, like she said. We have volleyball recaps, soccer recaps, little basketball tidbits, and of course, football starting on Saturday. But first, y'all, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, do all the things. Leave us reviews, all that cool stuff. If you want to see our shining little faces, we are on YouTube. If you are watching there, please subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. It just, it helps us, helps these things get seen. Comment, let us know who your favorite player's been so far in any of these teams. Maybe who we're going to talk about. You're going to find a new favorite player. Commenting, all that stuff helps us get seen. That's our mission here, is really just to get these sports more pub, and the more people that comment it and share it, help it get more pub. So we'd appreciate that. And lastly, you're going to be seeing some pictures on our thumbnails. We just worked it out with the Daily Torador. Shout out them. So any pictures you see, you'll see a little Daily Torador logo on our thumbnail, so we can use their live action shots from all the games. Their student reporters are great. Their student photographers are great.
Stupid good. Yeah.
They're so good. So read their stuff. They do a great job getting the content, and we're just gonna be able to use some of their pictures now to make our content a little bit better as well.
That's awesome. And what helps us helps the athletes. So know that it's all part of a bigger picture, like Shelby said. And shout out Daily Torador. I don't know if I ever worked there, but I was in the college of that, and I still am now.
I freelanced for them. I didn't do official beat stuff like they did, but I did do some freelance work some point in my college career.
Mm-hmm. But they're so good, and there are students that are commentating the games and stuff like that. So huge shout out
KTXT, separate
to all of them.
Separate organization, I guess, but still student ran. They all did great. I listened to them. Speaking of soccer, which we'll roll into, I listened to them on the Sunday game because unfortunately the game was not streamed. So we'll lean heavily on Sibby's analysis for the Sunday portion of the game because she was there and got to see it in person, thank goodness. But those guys calling that game were hype on every time I text Sibby. I'm like, so did someone just do a backflip because they acted like Janine Becky just showed back up at this game and scored or something?
she subbed in.
And Sibby's like, no, that was great, but it maybe was not that good. But I appreciate the hypeness. We're on train for the hypeness.
I would take that over and then Sam Courtwright did this really cool thing. You know what I mean?
Guy for that video for Nebraska where they did the front flip throw into the bicycle kick, and the guy sounded like he was falling asleep on the call. But anyway,
you'll never see that again in your life. Shout out
when
Nebraska.
That happens on our team. These boys are gonna break things in the press box, and it makes me happy to know that that's happening on the radio call. Our TV broadcasters are great as well. They just were unavailable for whatever reason for this game. But let's start with Thursday.
Let's go back in time.
4-1 win against Ball State. What were your takeaways from that game? I know Ashley Williams had a hat trick. We had Macy Blackburn with 3 assists. What is that called? Can you make up a name for that? Is that a thing?
It's called the Black Burn.
Oh, might as well give it to her.
You got Black Burned. I don't know.
I love it.
I sat on it for a minute when you asked me that. There might be an official term for that, but
probably
anything that Macy is doing this year, I'm gonna start naming things after her.
She deserves it.
It's amazing. And it's her sophomore year. I have notes about her. We'll continue to talk about her forever. But yes, Texas Tech played Ball State. They won 4-1. I realized when I'm at the game, I'm taking notes, but I'm just writing down players' names, and they did this really cool thing. So I might have more individual shout outs, and you might have more of a collective outlook of it. But the first thing that got me in a really cool way is, you know how I feel like it's exclusive to soccer sometimes, but they walk out with like little kids, like the ball kids that'll chase down the ball during the game and stuff
Baseball
like that. And
kind of, yeah.
yeah, and they'll walk
Soccer
out
really
with
does it. Yeah.
yes, it's so awesome because you know those little kids are like Madison White,
Superstars.
Macy Blackburn, like this is
My
amazing.
hero.
And no, and the best part is I was watching them run out and Madison White was like darting out there, like getting warmed up, and she was like, oh yeah, I got like these youngsters behind me, and she turned around and she's like talking to them and they're just like giggling and laughing on the way to the line for the national anthem. And I love that, dude. I just shout out Madison. You don't even have to play to impress me.
The personalities and the leadership on this team are great. They're easy to root for. They make you proud to be a Red Raider. It's not a team where you're like, God, they look like they're not having fun out there. They look like they're having fun out there, which it helps when you're scoring as many goals as they're scoring this year. I think 13 goals already. Yeah. That helped you have fun, but like Madison White's not. I mean, she's back there directing traffic. She's still having a good time, you know. Like they're not quite getting a lot of shots on goal on her. She's back there doing her thing. So I love it. I love it.
It's so good. Yeah. So that was like the first thing to kick it off, literally and figuratively. But like you said, Ashley had a hat trick. That is her second hat trick of her career. I
only the second Red
know
Raider
if it's her
ever.
last. Yeah.
Only the second Red Raider ever to have 2 hat tricks. Do you know who had the first?
It had to have been.
It's an easy one. Yeah.
Is it Becky?
I'm pretty sure it was Becky. Yeah.
It had to.
Or
have been.
Davis. It was one of those 2.
Yeah. Kirsten, she's
I saw
doing
conflicting reports and I couldn't confirm it in the record book. But
yeah, y'all, we might have some stats that need to be updated. We've come to find out with researching and just how women's sports are reported on. So we're doing our best.
That is not a shot at Texas Tech. They do a great job, but
just in
they
general,
only have the information they have to go off of. So yeah.
Yeah, so Ashley had that, and then Alex Kerr scored
another one.
A goal. I was just so impressed I can't even talk. Which is really cool because
that was off of a really nice Blackburn assist, if I remember correctly. Thursday feels like forever ago, but
I know I'm kind of like looking through my notes too, and it's just utter chaos, which is great. But those are our goal scorers of the day, and Tech had 25 shots to Ball State 7. It was a very dominant performance. That one goal by Ball State is just so pesky. You know, we love those shutouts. But it is what it is, and we walked away with the W.
My thing on that one goal, and Coach Stone said the same thing after Sunday's game. Someone asked him about only allowing 2 goals this year, and he's like, yeah, but the 2 we've allowed we're not proud of. And that was another one that was like, what happened? And I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt here. The coaches know more than us, and we're there, and they know what really happened. She probably shouldn't have passed it anyway, but it did, to me, look very much like someone that thought that ball was going to get to Hannah way quicker than it did, because she is a senior and has played so many matches on turf at home, and her muscle memory said hit it this hard. She hit it, and that first bounce on grass, it died. So I'm not saying it was the best pass anyway. It wasn't. Listen, she knows this. She's a senior. She's great. She went back out there and had a stud game on Sunday. She's fine. God. But it was like both goals. Yeah, we've allowed 2 goals, but both of them were like, what kind of goals? And there were a couple of moments against Ball State where Madison bailed them out in 1v1 situations. So they got to clean that up. But just to point out the stuff they can work on. But that just shows how much potential this team has, because they're blowing people out and they still have so much growth that they can do.
I know. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. I think there's more reflection on that too with their Sunday match. But yeah, in competition of that one goal, Madison had some great punch outs, clearing the box and a lot of direction in that capacity. So she was working, and
1v1
along with
save.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that one was so good. It was perfect. Perfectly
timed. It would have changed the
timed.
complexion of the game. It would have been 1-1, and she didn't do that right there. And then they would have gone ahead a few minutes later. So
It's wild. Yeah, it can evolve so much. But Macy, like we've been talking about, her assists have been incredible. She had her career best with 3 assists in that game against Ball State. It is so fun to watch her play, and knowing that like it's her return. It's just all of the different layers of Macy Blackburn coming together. So Bar as usual, she is, I think what I've appreciated watching her in real life instead of like on the TV, is her strides are so powerful. Like I've talked about how she splits defenders, and I've noticed this on Sunday's game too, but she has the athletic ability to have these really long, powerful strides or like quick, short steps that are, it's just calculated. It's so calculated and strategic that it's really fun to watch in person. So we'll say this a million times. Go to the games.
Go to the games. I wish I could. I'm jelly. But yeah, you can see that even on TV, so I can't even imagine in person. Like she's super quick, like especially on the, not so much the TV angles, but like even, okay, so you got a really good, we'll talk about Sunday, you got a really good angle of her. You're like right next to her on the back other side of the field on that one. That showed it perfectly. Her, like, it's not just a long stride. Like sometimes people that have long strides look slow. They're fast, but they look slow. She has long strides, powerful strides, and she looks fast. Like it's just like
so fast.
The power she gets off of it is fun. And the way she juked out that girl for the first goal of the game on Thursday, got clipped. A lot of people would have been like, I mean, if this was a men's game, would have fallen over and called for an ambulance. The girl says, nah, I'm good. I'm going to keep going because I got a clear path here. Beautiful, hard zip in their cross right to Ashley's feet between couple of people. It came in so quick. If they asked Ashley about the first goal after the game, which bless her, she scored 3, so I understand why she can't remember. She was like, I don't even know who kicked it to me, but it was coming in quick, and someone said it was Kylie, and she's like, okay, that tracks. Good job, Kylie. Like it came in so quick, she had no idea who it was even coming from, and she finished it. So I thought Kylie had she's not had bad games by any means, but these last 2 games this weekend, I thought she's really coming into her own, pushing up. Her and Macy are quite the duo at the outside back positions, and pushing up. And Elise Anderson off the bench as well. They're fun to watch do their thing.
I know. We can spend so much time talking about every person on this roster, which I clearly have done with my notes. But along with Barr, some other standouts that I saw, Berkeley Patterson, she had some really great tackles throughout the game when she was in. And then Taylor Strzeski,
okay.
I think so. Taylor, please correct us. That's important. Names are important. I understand. But she also has like some of the Kylie Barr energy of like moving through defenders really well. And in this game, I recorded this name down, and then following up in Sunday's game, I was like, okay, good. I'm glad I had this on my radar. But Lauren Woodruff is...
Oh, okay.
I know. She started to catch my eye in the game against Ball State. She had like a really good clear, a couple good clears in that game. But I noticed that
backline. I don't think I've even heard them say her name. So
yeah, she hasn't played much yet. But we'll talk more about her for Sunday's match. But she caught my eye, and then one of another cool play that I enjoyed. And I have a rugby background, y'all. So like. And soccer was always a great transition sport. Like all the soccer players that didn't make the club team, they would come play rugby, and they were the best rugby players. And this play is exactly why. Clara Witten. Yeah. Clara Witten went up it was a header. Both of them went up. And then I think it was the first defender or the second defender that got jumbled up. But she ended up like having her feet completely, she was parallel with the ground. Fell to the ground, and I think literally in the bounce of her hitting the ground, she popped right back up and was like already running after the ball. And I was like, let's go. Like that toughness and that like relentlessness. She isn't going to let anything. She's not going to let gravity keep her down and keep her out of the play and what's going on the field. So that was another play. I was like, oh my goodness. I love this so much. The toughness is unmatched.
That. Yeah, soccer players.
So that was Ball State.
Soccer players don't get they don't get the love they should for their toughness, for sure. I'm shocked that you haven't talked about this yet. Shocked that it's not in your notes, because you dang near passed out on Instagram. I know I passed out, and I didn't even really know what the hell I was seeing. I didn't know what it was called. But this rainbow flick business from Sam Courtwright, the freshman, what is she doing? Even her teammates after the game were like, yeah, Sam's out there doing rainbow flicks. Like, who does that? Like, that's what Ashley and Macy said, talking about how creative she is. Like, even when she doesn't show up in the stat sheet, the girl is showing up. If you want to get to games and watch, the girl is fun to watch play. She'll try anything.
I am so I know. How did I not have that in here? I definitely passed away during that time.
I
blacked it out.
You forgot it happened.
And it's so funny. I was looking up some other. We'll do some like history lesson on the term nutmeg. If y'all have heard that before, because I saw a few good ones in the game on Sunday.
Ashley
but I was like,
megged the keeper on Thursday in Ball State for his second goal of the game. Was a meg through the keeper's legs. Don't forget that.
Yes,
it was a lot of fun goals.
A lot of fun. Yes, and Sam Courtright. So I look up like nutmeg. I was like, why is it even called a nutmeg? We'll talk about that in a minute. And then I was going down the list, and it talked about a rainbow flick. The first sentence to describe a rainbow flick is it said, "You're more likely to see this on a video game than you are in real life." And then Sam Courtright is a video game character.
She really is.
Just like popping off with her tricks, dude. And like her game is so foundational that she can do these tricks and they land. You know what I mean? It's not like she's trying and messes up.
She dang near pulled
she
that
landed
off.
it.
I mean, she got it back. Like she didn't get it past the defender recovered. But even before the rainbow flick, the ability to dead that ball. Everyone was like, "Oh, that's going out of bounds." She runs over there, one touch, deads this ball, and doesn't let it go out of bounds for a free, like a goal kick. We keep it, and then one touch later, Rainbow flicks it over this girl's head, and the girl recovered, so she didn't get a free run at the goal, but it was still not. I think she got a cross off of it or something. It was so ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't even think people noticed it. I wish they didn't post that in the highlights. I tried to go back and find it myself, but listen, do yourself a favor, y'all. Just go rewatch the game on Thursday, and you'll see a Meg from Ashley Williams, her second goal of the game. I think right after halftime that happened, right through the keeper's legs, because that is one thing. It was tied 1-1. We will note this. I forgot about that. It was kind of a slog of a first half. They scored. Ball State scored right before half on that weird bad pass. And then we came out in the second half and we're like, no, enough playing your game. Y'all are trying to make us play slow. We're about to outrun you and run you to the ground, and that's what we did. But there were a lot of cool, soccer, fun, flashy moments from this team, which as a fan, I don't know if the coaches like or don't like that. That's up to them. We, as fans, love it, obviously. Tom's probably
Tom's stoned. I would be so curious to know his thoughts.
He's like, that
he's like, what the hell? Whatever.
Whatever. It worked.
He sits back down. He starts yelling at the ref again. And all of that, and she's a first year. Like, her first career,
true freshman.
This is the start of her career collegiately. And to have
her
that confidence.
And Macy, also, we could talk about soccer forever. Sorry, guys. Actually, I'm not sorry at all.
I'm not sorry either.
It's soccer season, okay? Her and Macy in the last two games. I didn't get to watch Sunday, so you'll have to fill in that or not. I know it was a little bit disjointed, even though we still won big, but sure. I know in the last, especially Thursday's game, they seem like they're starting to play together better. And what a duo! Those two playing off each other. Every time they play off each other, it works. Okay, that might be an exaggeration, but it feels like every time they play off each other, they're so in sync and they're so crafty. That's dangerous to have them on the same, I mean, she's midfield, so she's, I guess, always on the same side as wherever Macy is, but it just seems like we're purposely trying to work through them. It's fun. And then as Kylie gets that same kind of rapport with the midfield as well, it'll be fun too. So this team's fun.
And it truly does, and it's such a testament to their practice and their training. So shout out to the gals. Like, y'all's work is we're able to see it, and
you can't pull those moves off unless you practice them and fail at them a lot. And she don't care about failing because she just does until to get it. But
just does it.
All right, so I'll move on for you because I know we could talk about that one forever. Again, Sunday's game, we could not watch it on stream. You cannot go back and watch it. It does not exist. So there's no video to watch outside of the highlights that the team posted or the highlights that Sibby will. It's probably past
Go
time.
to our Instagram.
If you run fast, you may be able to catch them on our Instagram story or the ones we shared on Twitter. But the team put out a nice highlight package after the game, so... But we won 3-0.
Yeah.
On paper, looks like a dominant game. I think afterwards, Coach Stone said to the effect of, "We didn't play our best game, but we still won 3-0. But there were times in that game where it felt like it should have been tied, and I'm sure Utah Yeah, I'm sure Utah State felt the same, but he did note that Ashley came out strong, got us that goal early, and then he talked about how this team is different from past year's teams and that they're not okay with just being up 1-0. They're not okay with just being up 2-0. They learned from last year where those moments got us into a bunch of draws and ties, whatever you want to call them, because we let up a late goal or even if it was just 0-0, we just weren't pressing for those goals as much. We were playing a little more safe, it seemed like. They're not doing that this year, so he was proud of them for that, but I guess it was a little bit disjointed, even though it was 3-0. Is that what you saw?
Yeah, I think, I got some observations, and I think to also highlight with Ashley, I think we've seen her score in like the first 10, 15, like the first half, like really quick. And to me, I think that sets the message up that you're talking about is like Ashley's like full systems go. And I love that immediate impact of, all right, it is game time right now. If you're sleeping, you're late. And so her making those statement goals, I think is really important and totally feeds into what you were saying. But yeah, they won 3-0. Ashley, of course, had a brace, scoring 2. And then I was waiting for this third goal to happen with Giselle Kozarski. I've been practicing all day, and that's what happens. But she had an absolute laser to the back of the net. People weren't even like looking at the ball. It was just quickly so fast past them. But I'm going to call her.
Couldn't get it.
Yeah, not even close. And I'm going to call her, Giselle, for this game, the MOT, and it was just a matter of time. MOT for her to get that goal. She had a really, really impressive game. I wrote her name down so many times in my notes that like it makes sense that she had that opportunity and she took full advantage of it and got us on top 3-0.
She's had moments in each of the past, every game this year. She almost got the winner way back in that slog of a game that we drew with New Mexico on like off the bar, I think. We talk about her having a freaking cannon on her leg, so it was good to see her get one. Well, I didn't get to see it, but it was good to hear her put one in the back of the net for her sake, for sure. And shout out someone that, again, just listening, maybe that's a good perspective to have for this game. There were 2 players that just listening seemed to be popping off, and you can confirm this. One was Alex Kerr, who she didn't even score in the game, and she's like, that's her thing, but she seemed like she was really active everywhere else, and she didn't get the assist on it, which I was confused by at first, but then the replay that Texas Tech posted, you can see her cross, which is beautiful, slightly clips off of a defender, so technically the defender touched it over to Kozarski and she finished it, but she's the one that made that play happen, and then Kozarski finished it. I just thought she had a really great game based on listening to the thing. And then the other one is Hannah Anderson, if you want to talk about both of those. She sounded like she was on one, like even to the point of getting a yellow and just saying like, you gonna fight my players, I'm about to punch you in the face, like if you keep clipping us. Like that's what it sounded like just listening. You tell me if that's true.
I can't wait to talk about that yellow. But yeah, Alex Kerr, in my notes too, she had such a fierce level of playing that game. I don't know what it was, but it was almost like a different player. And I think kind of in the way that you didn't see her scoring as much, she was defending and slide tackles left and right. She was so aggressive with the ball. Like where I was standing on the fence line, she had a really great, she stole the ball running down the sideline. I'm like, let's go. Like that was her play.
You were hyping her up
against Utah State.
I wonder if she could hear you.
I'm so loud. I bet they're like, who is this that's like drinking
a
beer on the sideline, yelling at us? No, but Alex had a
probably thought you were a coach. You're like, God, why is one of our coaches on the other side?
She's got a booklet. She's a coach. But yes, I'm glad the announcers had that on lock. And then Hannah Anderson had a game. Oh my gosh.
Every 2 seconds they were saying, Hannah. I'm like, what is this girl doing out there?
What is she not doing, dude? Like her defense was such a huge, crucial piece to a shutout win. And I feel great saying that. She had so many clears from the box. And Utah State had a lot of looks Hannah was not letting it happen. That's all it was going to be, was a look. So shout out huge. Hannah Anderson had an impressive game, and I could sense some of like the frustrations of, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but like we're still a new team learning to play together against these really high competitors. And I think that was happening. There was a lot of fouls on Utah State that I don't think were called, and you could definitely hear Tom talking about it. I'm sure in the broadcast, but something happened, and I could see Hannah, and it was like a switch. I was like, she's gonna get a yellow. She was fighting for this ball, her and her defender, and ended up just like a body check. Bap, and I was like, I'm so good with this. I'm so good with this play, and I know she's gonna get a yellow. Sure enough, hooked up. But she got that yellow, and that was it. Tom was yelling and saying that was a clean tackle. He got a yellow. But that was a yellow card that I will forever support. You know, everybody was safe and fine. But
I mean, when your captain's getting booked, they're doing it for a reason. They know what they're doing. And from my vantage point, just listening, it sounded like we constantly kept getting these dirty's a strong word, but illegal tackles by Utah. They were physical, that weren't being called. And so then Hannah does it one time, and they call it against her, and she gets up like, whoop, fine, like, let's go. You're going to do it to me, I'll do it to you. Like, let's go. Like, and then that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the game. I was screaming at my little phone radio. I was like, let's go. I couldn't even see it, but I was like, if Hannah's ready to go, I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? Like, so it's good to see that for sure.
I think everybody had that same mindset. So that Hannah, in my opinion, had like one of her best games.
Player of the match?
Yeah, player of the match for sure. And
I have a question. Sorry.
Truly amazing. Yeah.
The radio broadcast actually gave player of the match to Madison White. So I just thought, from your vantage point, they only had 2 shots on goal. What did you see from her? I'm assuming just what she normally does, her and Hannah talking, her organizing people to keep them from even being allowed to get shots. She seems like she had, I mean, she always has a great game, but I feel like it's important for people that aren't watching the games or aren't understanding like how good of a keeper we have, and that even if she's not having to save a lot of shots, it's because she's stopping the shots from happening by her communication, it seems like.
Yes, that's it. I was just about to say.
Intense communication.
Direct and effective.
She told us that.
I'm so happy.
Direct and effective communicator.
I'm so happy that we've gotten to talk to Madison and Hannah, because seeing them work together, it is so clear that they have played with each other for such a long time that like they understand each other's play and communication. But on the flip side of that, with some of the younger team and like our transfers and things like that, I think there's just a lot more of the communication that has to happen because we're still trying to figure it out. But Madison was excellent at communicating. She, I stood behind her for some chunk of time, and I was like, okay, she's not only telling people what she needs and players what she needs, but she's almost articulating the game in some way of, all right, we're shifting right, or whatever the case may be. She's definitely a leader in that capacity. So of course, I'm always going to support her getting that recognition. And it's another clean sheet for her. She's really, really close to tying the program record with shutouts.
Could happen on Thursday. Y'all get to the game.
Yeah, Thursday could be the tie for a shutout, and with saves, she's within 3 saves to reach 200 career saves. So
that's wild. I
think this is a really fun year for Madison to have so much success that this all makes sense. She's a badass. I get it.
Enjoy it while you can, man. I mean, I know she talked a lot in our interview. Go back and listen to it about the keepers she has behind her and that she's excited about them. But listen, as fans, these types don't come along very often, so enjoy it.
It is truly a gift to watch her play and to see how she leads on the field. Exactly what she talked about with us is to see it in execution is beautiful. So Madison White had a great game. Barr, oh my gosh, she had
she's popping off.
Such an impressive match. Like you were talking about the past couple of games. I mean that's what we're seeing is we're continuing on what we know and the information that we're given after each game and improving. And I think Tom Stone talks about that of every season getting better. And for me, what I've seen is every game we're getting so much better, and we're seeing a lot of different names popping up and what they're doing well. Sam Courtwright didn't have too many flashy things going on, but she did have a good nutmeg, which you said where that word came from?
It's ridiculous. It's some whatever origin, whatever country. I don't remember the origin, the language, but that's what they call legs, right? Nutmegs are legs.
Yeah.
In that language.
I feel like nobody knows.
There's also something about it maybe being about someone's name. There's two different variations of the. It's like the tortilla story for Texas Tech.
Nobody knows where the tortillas came from?
Yeah.
With the tradition?
There's like multiple stories for that. Like different people say it's some people say it's that they're Texas Lubbock has a tortilla factory apparently, or used to, I don't know, and that someone made a comment on that, and the only thing good about Lubbock is tortillas, like an Aggie said that or something. And so at that game we threw tortillas. There's also something where it used to be like they used to give away these free cups that came with these lids, and that game they gave them away, everyone was throwing them, and so the next game that got banned, so the next game they threw tortillas. There's all these silly things out there. My favorite one is the Aggie one. I think that's the coolest one, is like, you talk shit about us, we're gonna turn it into a thing, because that's very on brand. So that's the one I run with. But that seems like to circle this back to what we're talking about, that seems like the same thing as the nutmeg, is like there's someone's name.
Who knows?
That's that, but also the country
lore.
of origin that they whatever is, that nutmegs are considered legs.
I see. Okay, well, whatever it is. Sam had a great one, and then just to rattle off a few more names that stuck out to me. Jillian Martinez, she had some great clears, great stops. Kate Leibel came in. The way that she runs and her athleticism reminds me a lot of Kylie. So I'm excited to see her grow. And and Lauren Woodruff, impressed me so much this game. She is such an incredible passer, and she had a beautiful cadence that started with her, and just beautiful passes that ended up us getting a set piece at the end of it. We didn't score off of it, but she again was right in front of me, and I was able to watch her play, and her control of the ball is really, really impressive. And then the last one, Penelope.
She's a freshman, I was wondering. So we got years
Lauren.
ahead of this, of Woodruff girl.
Yeah. And then Penelope, she is a 5'11" grad from Canada, and she had I think a shot on goal, and it close, maybe. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. That's what I had in my notes, but I could be not 100% correct. But it was great to see her having some minutes and getting out there. She's going to be an important player, I think, moving on too, as we get into Big 12 play. So those are the names that caught my eye. And I think one of the biggest things that I heard from the field is they kept talking about, and I think Hannah said this a lot, it was keep it simple. Like, keep it simple. And to me, that
stupid
is such a great...
She didn't add the stupid, probably, but...
No, she didn't.
You ever heard that
keep it simple
acronym? Keep it simple, stupid, KISS?
No.
That's a famous acronym. KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, that's a band.
It's big in the small business world, I guess, but...
okay.
Yeah, but it's also keep it simple, stupid.
I think that's the message going forward, and a message that I can totally see the team getting behind. And they play again, North Texas, Thursday at 7 p.m. in Lubbock. We are undefeated at home, so come watch that continue.
Love it, guys. The Owl will add in some fun stats, and then we'll move on to volleyball. But we're in 4 games in, y'all. Ashley Williams, she now leads the country in goals scored at 7. She's also tied for first in game-winning goals with 3. Macy Blackburn, who we talked about, who didn't even have an assist on Sunday. They probably were triple teaming her or something. We didn't talk about that, but that's going to become common. They're going to try to take her out of the game. We still scored 3 goals, so that's good to see. But she still is 4th in the nation in assists with 4 over 4 games. And as a team, which I think is really cool to see, we're third in the nation in assists per game at 4.5 assists per game. That's just showing that everybody's getting involved. A lot of double assists on goals happening. Big stuff happening. And to further illustrate that, we have 18 total assists already this season. We had 14 total last year. So we already have 4 more assists than we had all of 2022.
I feel like we're almost at a point where, like, last year is so, like, we can't even refer to it because it's going to be so far in the past, you know what I mean, of where we are already. Like, the numbers are just really impressive. So good stats, Shelby.
Yeah. Just to give, I'll throw out some more just for comparison's sake if you want to know. But we have 16.5 shots per game compared to 10.7 last year. Our shots on goal percentage is 0.530%. Well, I guess 53% really when you put it that way. But 0.35353 last year. We're up from that. And then on the defensive end, where we've given up 2 goals, but like, whoa, they were weird goals. We're still pretty dominant down there. We've only allowed 2. We only allowed 12 total last year, so we were good there. But the difference so far this year is we've only allowed 6.2 shots per game versus last year in a full season. So we'll see that number will probably eke up closer to that by the end of the year. We allowed 8.5 shots per game. So we're just kind of keeping them from even getting shots. And that's shots, not shots on goal. That number is minuscule. But shots total, we're only allowing about 6 a game right now, which is kind of silly.
Truly shutting them down. Yeah, that's impressive. So that's what we got for soccer, but the winning doesn't stop there. Shelby, tell us all about volleyball. I got to go watch them against Notre Dame. That was a lot of fun.
Volleyball went 4-0, but as the coach said in the post game after their final game on Sunday, it was not a straight line. Not always a straight line, as Coach Greystone said, and that is the perfect way to put it, but that it was to be expected, y'all. We were picked to finish 11th in the Big 12 coming into the year. We lost a lot of seniors. We lost Kenneth Sowers, who's over there dominating for Houston. It's all over the internet this weekend for Houston, who's a top 25 team. We'll get to face her now as a Big 12 opponent. They upset USC or somebody in volleyball this weekend. We lost a lot of people. It was meant to be a transition year, and it might still be, but they came out with some solid performances. But it did start a little rough. So we'll take you through the roller coaster ride if you happen to not watch the games. We'll start with they played Houston Christian as their first match of the season. We previewed it and we said it's a tough first opponent on paper because they have won their conference last year. They're predicted to win their conference again this year in the Southland, I believe is what conference they're in. They have some really good players, like all-time kills leaders on their team are at current there. But then those 2 players were not playing, and you're like, okay, well, we're good. But they just showed how experienced they were. They're winners. The rest of the team is experienced. They knew how to do things. They did not. They came out ready to play. We did not. And then I will say their setter that was so good did finally come in the second set. So for some reason she just didn't start the game, but she was available. So we did have to face half of their best players, 2 best players. But anyway, they won the first 2 sets. I won't say easily, but they won them. We could not break through. And then furthermore, in that third set, could have been the final set, we were down 10-6 at one point.
Dude.
In the third set. And I'm like texting Sibby, like, man, we might be about to get swept in our first match of the season. Like, it happens. We're young, but like, it's a tough start to this one. And we turned from that moment on. Flipped a switch.
Yeah, they said,
and came
hold
back.
on, Shelby. It's so impressive.
Our demise, not so much.
Yeah. I don't know what it's like to have that like mental battle of being down 2 sets, and then that third one being a challenge in the beginning and then coming back to win. Dude, that's some Red Raider DNA. I love it.
Yeah.
Never out.
You never want to get yourself into that big of a hole. But from a psychological standpoint, shocker, me talking about sports psychology.
I know, yeah, wow.
But from that standpoint, like, that's something you can look. You saw it the next game, next match. Sorry, I'm learning my terminology. They looked back to that. Even against Notre Dame, they looked back to that. And then on Sunday, they had to look back to that again. The way that this team is capable laughing. Like, they're literally laughing out there. They're having a good time in the face of adversity, but also just being like, okay, bet. Cool. That sucks. We did that to ourselves. Let me grab this little ladder and climb on out of this hole that we built. And they did that. And I will say there was a change in the first game that is still unclear if it was tactical in nature or injury in nature, because Reese Rhodes is a senior. She's a leader on this team. And for some reason, she was taken out of that first match about midway through the second set. And we brought in this true freshman and Caitlin Cochran. And the girl just went off. I don't know if the coaching staff expected that. I don't know if they were like, let's just give Reese a little bit of a break and see if she can. She wasn't playing terribly, like stats wise, but it did seem like when Cochran came in, she brought a little something different. She's a little taller. She's a little bit different player. She can block from there. She can do some other things. And she did not give the spot back. And she went off in her first match of the game. She had 37 assists. Again, she didn't even start this match until midway through the second set, pretty much to the end of it. Had 37 total assists in this game, 4 blocks and 8 digs in her collegiate debut. I thought that was really cool, and that's nothing against Rhodes. We'll talk later. She had her redemption moment against Notre Dame. She came back and was great the rest of the weekend, but that was really cool. That was the start of things to come. It's like every time they said something, they're like, freshman. You have Reese Rhodes. You have Dugan, who ended up being all-tournament. You have our seniors doing what they do. But then you have freshman, sophomore. It's like, ooh, this is a young team.
Yeah, and doing well.
Mm-hmm. Doing very well. And another one in that game, Kate Hansen, who was great all weekend and actually is now leading, not just leading the country in blocks with 27 after her first weekend of play. Had 11 blocks in her first game. And she's relentless. Like, there's a cool highlight of her the team put out on their Twitter, so go check it out, where she gets 2 blocks in a row. Like, she goes up, stuffs this girl. They recover, get it back. They go right back up, thinking they're going to sneak attack her, and she's not going to be ready. She bounces it back up and blocks it again. And then she just raises her hand like, what? You tried me? What? Like, that's what she's standing there like. And I'm like, the freshman with the talking her shit. Let's go. So I love it. I love it. I love it. She's fun to watch. Backing it up. I mean, leading the country. Yeah. I mean, well, some context. We played a lot more. We played 4 games, so it's a volume thing. But she's still top 30, I think it is, in blocks per set, which tells you she's still way up there in the country for a freshman, which is crazy.
Yeah. Do you remember what game that was where she had the double block?
Bucket.
Was that?
I think that was Notre Dame.
Was it? Okay. Because I was able to go to Notre Dame, and I remember that happening. And when I went to the game, of course, the women's basketball team is there showing up and supporting. And I sat a little bit in front of them. Mm-hmm. And after that, the double block, all of us were like, "Ah!" And I'm telling y'all, I'm going to try and figure this out for a new episode or an episode longer down the road. But the things that you enjoy about football or like any of these other sports, you can see it in such a concentrated formation with volleyball that like the hype is real. It is so like with her throwing up her hands like that, everybody was losing their mind. It was amazing. Yeah.
I loved how much they celebrated. Like, listen, I haven't watched a ton of volleyball in my day. I'm about to watch more volleyball than I ever have in my life, and I'm loving it. Right? I've watched some Texas Tech volleyball here or there over the years, but we're making time to watch all these sporting events because we're dedicated to it. Until someone else picks up the slack and starts doing it for them, we're gonna do it, right? So yeah. It's been great. Like the athletes, I love how hyped they are. I think that's what people need to see, that especially people that don't think women's sports are fun. That's a whole weird subset of people we're not probably going to win over, but they are intense. Like, they were like this, like chest bumping after every kill. I just love that. That's what my biggest takeaways from this team. So we came back, won that Houston Christian game, right? Big time thing. It would have been bad if bad's a strong, it would have been a tough way to start the season. Not, the end of everything, but tough. Came back the next day, looked great against Wichita State. Won 3-1. Didn't nothing too flashy from that game. Just the gals doing what they do. Cochran again started and finished that game. That was at night. Sorry, that was that later that day. Played the whole game. Rhodes did not play, and you're like, okay, what's going on? Notre Dame comes, the game that you were at. You can speak more about the fans. There were over 1,000 people in the house for that. So shout out Red Raider Nation. Y'all got to come to a fun one. That's really good for a non-con matchup, especially the first week of the year. It doesn't always flash on TV for us because we play in such a huge arena compared to some of these volleyball arenas where 1,000 people would be sold out lower bowl, but there was 1,000 people there. It was loud on TV as well, so I love that for the girls. And they dominated those first 2 sets in that Notre Dame game. And Notre Dame, listen, it's a fun name to say that we beat. They've been up and down in past years, but they still have that ACC Power 5 talent. You saw some giants over there. And Bryn Williams, wait, let's talk about Bryn Williams for a second. We talked about the freshman. Only a sophomore. God. She's stepping in for that Kenna girl that transferred over to Houston. Everyone was concerned about that position. Boy, was she fun in this one.
Oh my gosh. The athleticism, the power, the bunnies, I like everything that you would want in a volleyball player. Bryn Williams is her. She's her. And we can say that like about all of, so many of these players. And that's what I saw in that Notre Dame game. You're totally right. Like Notre Dame's had their ups and downs, but to have a showcase of, okay, these are our players that we have against these teams. And a couple of them are pretty competitive. And Bryn Williams is so good. And
so fun.
She passes the vibe check. Everybody passes the vibe check on the volleyball team. The vibes are right. The vibes are right.
They do seem like they have fun. I love a team that has fun, It makes it easy to cover them. Makes it easy to get excited. Makes it easy to put out silly SpongeBob gifs when they do something crazy. That's what I'm doing over on Twitter. It's a good time. And Bryn, my girl, was doing matrix moves in one of those matches, like to get out of the way. She's a team player. She leads the country, y'all, in 3 different categories after the first weekend. The nation in kills, which is like the stat to be leading something in for her position. Attacks and total points. She's doing the thing. And she's making some errors, and she talked about that. Didn't have her best match on Sunday, which everybody was a little bit, which was to be expected, the emotional letdown after that Notre Dame game in front of everybody. But she talked in the post game like, my teammates are there just patting me on the back. She's like, the fans. She's like, we have a great fan base here. They're letting me know that they're behind me no matter what. Like, it makes me just shake that off and go do what I do on the next play and get the kill on the next play, even though I made a mistake. And that's what you're going to see from a freshman. And that's why it's really cool when fans show up. Because if you don't think your support matters, she said it right there. Is that stuff matters. It's like for her to know, like, they don't care that I messed up. They care that the next time I just smoked that girl and hit it into the floor and we just scored. Like, that's what the fans are going to cheer about. Like, they know that mistakes happen. They're here to hype me up. And so it was cool to see her say that and to see a sophomore stepping into her own. And the girl is just fun to watch. They're all that way. Don't slide over Caitlin Dugan, who was all-tournament team, a little bit under the radar. She's a senior, but she was out there doing everything. Much needed senior leadership on a young team. And Reese Rhodes, again, was great in the Notre Dame game. Also came out and had a good game against ACU as well. So she seemed to get back in that spot. Again, don't know if that was injury or tactical related, but her and Cochran they're both setters. So if you're not familiar with volleyball, they're not really ever going to play at the same time. So that's why there's this quote unquote controversy. I don't think it's a controversy. I think it's a great thing to have this depth of talent, and that's a good decision to have. Like, if one of them's not having their game, switch them in, give her a break. And you got to see to me, it was a great sign that Rhodes came back. I know a lot of people are like, where's Cochran? She was fun. Reese Rhodes is her, and she has been for 3 years at Texas Tech.
Yes.
So, like, we weren't going to just not see her again. It could have been injury-related. Nobody knows why she left that game in the first place. So to see her back out there was great as well. Those seniors doing their thing, and then the freshmen and the sophomore in Williams going off.
Truly, yeah. And there were a good, I think, couple rows of students that showed up, too. So it wasn't even just the Lubbock community showing up to the game. So I love that. Shout out to the students that showed up. They were loud, and I'm like,
chants. I was like, okay,
yeah. So, and that was amazing. It was a really, really great showcase, and to leave undefeated, y'all, come on.
4-0.
Uh, it sounds so nice. It's so great.
Yeah,
So
it's
what do
better
we?
than not 4-0. So, excuse me, to wrap that up, there was an all-tournament team, which I've mentioned. Bryn Williams, MVP of the Under Armour Challenge.
Yes.
Shocker to no one.
Correct.
Again, she's leading the country in all these categories. Of course, she'd be leading that tournament. Caitlin Dugan, the senior, was also named to this team. And then the freshman, Kate Hansen, the one that's now leading the nation in blocks, was on that team as well. And probably, to be honest, if Reese had played all 4 games or if Cochran had played all 4 games, they would have been on there because they were both great in their kings. I thought Maddie Correa, who we've had on the show,
oh my gosh,
great.
Maddie.
She had a bit of a slow start, but she was great in that Notre Dame game. There's a one sequence late in that final deciding set where she got like 3 kills in one play. And just not kills. Sorry, 3 digs in one play.
Digs. Okay, I was like, what the?
Diving all over, like Maddie out there getting. That's not even possible. 3 kills in one play. 3 digs in one play, and just doing her thing and flying around, giving up her body, getting hit in the face. She doesn't care. So her, Abby Dickinson, a freshman, also was great. Had a few aces. Courtney O'Brien, another freshman who's the younger sister of, I think it's Maddie O'Brien, who has not been able to, she's a senior, has not been able to play yet. She was supposed to play, but I think they ended up holding her out. She's coming back from an injury. She was out there doing things. I mean, there was a lot of people that flashed off this one tournament.
A lot of highlights. Yeah. Maddie was fun to watch. I think when she told us in her interview too of like the story that she got hit in the face, I was like, oh yeah, like one-time thing. Nah, dude, she's like
I saw it
laying
30
it
times
laying
this
it out
weekend.
for her team. Yeah, I know. She's a really great competitor. And it was fun to watch her play too. You're right. Like the digs were everywhere. I put a little like well, maybe with her jersey, she's just like cleaning the floors too as she's like digging around, you know. But
they don't need a floor sweeper. They
don't even have to do sweepers. Yeah, but huge weekend for volleyball.
I don't know the name of the Notre Dame libero, plays the same position, but she was great as well. Like they were fun to watch. Both of them, you just watch both play. Like they're both diving all over the place. It was a fun battle between them.
Yeah.
But yeah, good things happening for volleyball. Again, it was seen to be a rebuilding year, but those pieces they brought in, those bricks are real strong. They look real strong. So, listen, 11th place is what they were predicted to do in the Big 12. I mean, maybe we can surprise some people. I think we might have surprised some people in our first weekend.
Okay.
I don't think people saw what we saw from Bryn Williams coming. They knew what we had in Dugan. They knew what we had in Rhodes. They knew all these things. And these freshmen have good resumes coming in, but you never know. So we'll see if it continues. Next up, they have the Red Raider Classic, which is in Lubbock, so you can go see them in person. The irony, I don't know what this connection is with Wyoming. It's all across campus this week, but we play Wyoming in volleyball in Lubbock on Friday before our football team goes to Wyoming. And also, cross country kicks off their season this week in the Wyoming Classic, which I assume is in Wyoming. So just Wyoming all over campus for this. But so if you want to see us beat the Cowboys, maybe they go by Cowgirls, I'm not sure, in volleyball on Friday night, get out there and give their fans a little cattle prod, if you will, the night before football as well.
That's my farmer Shelby that I just love so much. Yeah. That's me.
Shelby. But yeah, so get out there and watch them, 7 p.m. They're a fun team. Unfortunately, I don't understand the timing of this schedule. Maybe it's because there's a game earlier. It is a tournament. There's a lot of teams in town. They also play the next night on Saturday at 7 p.m., which is at the same time as football. So that's going to be tough. We'll figure out how we're going to cover that. But it is the return of Christy Gray. That's what I have on you for that. She's a friend of ours that we played. She's a volleyball player. She's the head coach for Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns.
Right.
She went to Texas Tech. Was a great volleyball player. I don't know if she played at Texas Tech. I think she played junior college, and I'm not really sure her playing history. I didn't really pay attention. You know, I was a bad friend, I guess. No, that's how you are in college. Right. You don't ever ask each other things. So, but yeah, she's a great coach. She was a great junior college coach in West Texas before she got that job. She's coming back, Texas Tech alum, to coach her alma mater. Unfortunately, I hope people show up. I hope the people get there, but I get it. Football's starting. But if you can't catch them on Saturday, at least get there on Friday. Catch them on that Friday game.
Yeah,
Get
warm
out to the
up.
one on Saturday. If you're a big volleyball fan, go watch some volleyball on Saturday as well, and scream them on, and do your thing. And it just there's not a big name on the schedule this weekend, but both good teams. Like I said, Coach Gray, Christy Good knows what she's doing as a coach, so she'll have that team ready to play. I don't know much about Wyoming. I'm not going to front, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if you don't like volleyball or don't know volleyball, the hype is so good. Y'all, I can't even.
It's so
we
entertaining.
Can't tell
it's
you.
an entertaining sport.
Yeah.
Athleticism
it is so good.
off the chain.
Off the chain.
All
You're
the
not
people
wrong.
just jumping. I'm so old with that statement. Wow. No one says that anymore.
Wow.
It's fine. But yeah, they're fun athletes. And I mean, Bryn is like 5'10", which I guess in volleyball terms is short, but she's jumping higher than all these 6'4" girls. Like, she's flying up there. So if you can jump that high, it doesn't matter how tall you are. So yeah, they're fun to watch. Get out there, do them. And then they have and then I don't know who they play. I think Monday and Tuesday they just have normal home games like UNT and ACU. I think maybe something like that, in-state opponents, which we just played ACU the other day. But something like that. Just, I don't know why we're playing so many games. Probably because he knew it was going to be a young team. Get them some reps. And then the next biggest game down the line, a couple weeks from now, we play LSU coming up, so that'll be fun. I don't think it's a away game, but that's probably our first test before we get into a very tough Big 12 conference with the defending national champions who lost this weekend to Long Beach State.
Yep,
which was kind of a shocker, but they are the defending national champs and number one, those Longhorns down there in Austin. So it's a tough conference, but we'll see what they can do. And I'm excited. They're fun to watch, if nothing else.
They truly are. And off of the LSU talk, I know we got Red Raiders in Dallas. Y'all, the SMU Doubletree Invitational. So if you want to watch Tech Volleyball and you're in Dallas, they play SMU. That's where they'll play LSU. And Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
Yeah, let's sell out that game for LSU, y'all. That'd be hype.
Dude, that'd be so hype.
We're gonna work on our campaign.
Wait, I'm gonna be in Dallas that weekend. Wow,
what?
that's so funny.
Meant to be.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I have a lot of other things to do, but
what day is it on? Is it a Saturday?
They're on Saturday at 2 p.m. LSU.
Oh, dang, it might be. I hope it doesn't conflict with football. Hopefully,
yeah, right.
Hopefully it's a day game at 2 p.m. and then it's probably football. All of our football games are night games early in the year. So yeah, you can go to volleyball during the day, get home and watch the Texas Tech game. Love it.
Bada bing, bada boom. Love it.
Yeah. Speaking of football,
tell us.
Listen, we got football coming up this weekend, y'all.
I know we're all excited.
We've given you go back a few episodes, watch what our storylines are to watch. We're not going to repeat them again, but I am super excited to I love football, y'all. Love it to my core. We're not going to sit here and give you in-depth breakdowns every game because 9 million people do that. You don't need that from us. We're devoting our time where it's needed, but we do love football. We'll be watching. And for some reason, we're the only podcast you listen to. We appreciate that. We open the season on the road at Wyoming, which is not an easy cupcake. I think we're 14-point favorites in that one. So if you're into the betting lines, I'll offer the yes. Do you think we beat the spread, or do you think we not? Do you think we score more? We win by more than 14, or is it close?
I'm not the best person to ask, but I just think there is something about this year that all of our expectations are just going to be so small compared to what actually happens. Yeah. So, I mean,
I love
we're
that
beating them.
because I got some big expectations. So.
Okay, good. Well, my very in tune.
Our Texas Tech,
review.
We're naturally skeptical as Texas Tech fans. So
painfully optimistic
we've seen this story before. Wait till we see it. Yeah. So, but it does. They're saying the right things. We have a very old veteran team. I think they put out a graphic. There's 17 graduates on this team, 14 or 17 players that already have a degree playing football for this team. I did see that. It's a large number, which is one. We got some smart boys out there, and two, we got some experienced guys that can lead the charge, which is important. And I think that will help you overcome what could be seen as a trap game. Don't know why we agreed to go to Wyoming. You don't see this at the Power 5 level. I don't know if it was because the stadium's being built. I don't know the details on that while we're at Wyoming on the road for our first game. But that is a tough place to go to. Their fan base is good. Josh Allen of the NFL played there. They're a good program, right? They win a lot of games at their level. and their fans have had this certain circle. Their team has had their own circle. It's in spring ball. Like, this is their Super Bowl. You get the chance to beat a Power 5 team to start your year. They're going to be going all out, pulling out all the tricks, and we're going to have to be ready for it. So just win the game. I think if you blow them out, that says a lot about you. And the hype coming up for that next game in Oregon will be even bigger. But
oh my gosh.
in the words of our partners over at Gambling Gauchos, we are focused on Wyoming right now. We're not thinking about those Ducks. Everyone focus on Wyoming. So, questions for the season. Can Shuck stay healthy?
Yes.
We'll see. Can we handle the hype, or will this be a Baylor night game situation last year where Patrick Mahomes is in town and we just get our little selves blown out? I think we learn from that. I think we're older. I think Shuck is playing. We had like our third string out there at that point. Or no, I think Barron was playing that game, but we just weren't quite used to it yet. Yeah. And then the last question: what hotel in Houston are we going to go ahead and book? Because that's where the national title game is this year.
Yes, Shelby. I've been waiting for this question.
I don't know if you already have one. Maybe we should go ahead and do that. Just
let's do like
it's going to be all red.
A big Airbnb and just...
Yes, guys, that's what we're going to do. We're going to pitch in on Airbnb. We're going to party it up.
Just a 20, 25-person Airbnb.
Yeah, we're going to split it. We're going to have a Seeing Scarlet house. That'll be a good time.
Dude, that'd be so sick.
Y'all get that booked. I think when is the national championship? Early February, late January. Just go ahead and block off your calendar, and we'll work on the details. We'll find a good house. And
we'll see y'all there.
Get that booked. But it all starts before then. It starts this weekend at Wyoming. Got to get that dub. Come home, get that dub against Oregon. Tyler Shuck reunion tour there, and get it done. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's the real sign of fall. It's here.
Yeah.
And it's
no more weekends without football. We've made it.
That's
y'all,
right.
For football.
I need the weather to match the fall. So
preach.
Hopefully Lubbock can do that for me. That'd be real real sweet.
Yeah. One last note on sports is listen, guys, I have been holding my little tongue back, trying my darndest not to talk about women's basketball every episode. I would be out here talking about them for an hour weekly if Sibby allowed me to. But I'm getting just as hype about these other sports the more I cover them. I have a basketball background, so I'm a basketball junkie. But I'm getting into volleyball and soccer.
You're doing a great job, a little bit, truly.
You know?
Yeah,
I'm
you're doing
enjoying
awesome.
it. So they're great. They're fun teams to watch too. But the soccer team or the basketball team has. See, I'm already messing it up. The basketball team has started practicing because classes started officially having practices, and there's been a theme you've seen in the pictures. The team's hashtagging it, and I love it. It seems like our theme of the season is focused on the madness. The madness being March Madness. This is nothing new to us. We know that's the goal for the team. We, based on all the players we've had a chance to talk to, and if we are able to talk tomorrow, I'm sure they'll echo that as well. The coaches have been saying it, but now they're putting it out there. Focused on the madness. That's the goal.
Good.
Put it on a t-shirt. I will buy it right now. Texas Tech Lady Raiders, if you're listening to this, get me a Focus on the Madness t-shirt.
Dude.
With that Texas Tech Lady Raider logo, like the old school one. Yeah. Any of them. I'll buy it right now. I'll buy it 4 different versions, long sleeve, short sleeve, whatever you got. I'll buy that sucker and wear it. So give me that to start the season. I'm excited about it.
Give me that. So give me that.
Right now. Meow.
Honestly, like, that's probably my biggest frustration is, like, the lack of apparel for the women's sports. Like, dude, trying to find a women's or, like, a Texas Tech soccer shirt, it's like you get a gray one.
The longer it goes on that no one does that, start doing some research. I do. I have a small business. I understand some of the stuff, but I know apparel licensing is a lot different. But by God, if no one does it, we will find a way. I can make designs in like 10 seconds. That's easy old hat. I'm just creative. I'm just not allowed to. I'm just not.
All right, we'll talk about that off air. We got to get a business plan.
But,
don't tell them.
Yeah.
Don't tell them.
Honestly, this is how our thing is. If someone would do it, I'm happy to give you money. I'd buy from you, but no one's doing it, and it baffles my brain.
So you're gonna do it
but,
yourself.
One last women's basketball, Bree Amber Scott. Flew on over to Spain, I think, yesterday. She starts her pro career in Spain very soon coming up, and she's out there for camp and to practice, and she's going to do big things. I expect her to do nothing less than just win championships, win MVPs, whatever. She's going to live it up. I've seen her interacting with people on Twitter. She started talking about making a meet and greet, or like partnering with the Seville. She's in Seville, if I can say that.
Yeah.
Seville, Spain. There's a campus there for Texas Tech, so she's like going to go on campus. I don't know. She's been working that out, so I thought that was cool. She'll have a little Texas Tech connection while she's in Spain. So shout out Bree. I don't know if you're
love you, Bree.
Still listening. I know you follow us on Twitter, but we love you, Bree. Go do your
Big
thing.
time.
Break some ankles. Make those
do.
game-winning threes. I'll do what you do. Just do what you do. You don't even have to say go be great, Bree, because you're already great. Just be you.
Just keep doing you.
And you got it covered. Yeah. So if we can watch those games, we will be. So
oh my gosh.
It out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, huge shout out to Bree. What a huge athlete for Texas Tech, and women's basketball. So big love for Bree. Good luck in Spain. You don't need the luck actually. So go do your thing.
Skill. Yeah.
All skill.
All right, guys. Oh, that was a fun
episode.
We got soccer, we got volleyball, we got football starting. I'm going to just give you a little bit of a warning. I got family in town this weekend. It's the busiest sports week yet, so Sibby will be doing a lot of heavy lifting for us. Shout out her. She's been doing great on Instagram. I'll try to watch all the games, but we'll do our best, y'all. A lot of these games are going to start happening at the same times. We saw that happen on Sunday. We did our best with volleyball and soccer. We're going to continue to do our best. I think, again, volleyball and football play at the same time on Friday. We're going to watch all of the volleyball games. We're going to watch all the soccer games because we're going to do analysis on them. We're going to watch all the games. Sometimes they might not be watched live, so there might not be live coverage of every game, but we're going to do our best. But they will be watched at some point. Thank goodness ESPN on demand.
Truly. What a game changer.
We'll do what we can. So, but if you want some cool coverage, Sibby's been doing great for the games that she gets to. She can't get to all of them. She is a human with a life, but if they're in Lubbock, she's doing some cool Instagram stories and doing her thing and giving the athletes some extra coverage.
Yeah. Shelby over on Twitter.
Love it.
It's great stuff. Yeah.
I'm just tweeting GIFs. Yeah, I'm doing what I can.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, follow us Instagram, Twitter. That's where we thrive.
Subscribe.
It's really
if you're still
good.
Here listening.
Subscribe, yo, for real.
Really would appreciate it if you're on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Throw us a comment. Share it with friends. We're the only people giving this type of coverage. There's a lot of great podcasts out there. That's no shade to any of them. I watch pretty much all of them. I stand all day as a woodworker. I watch them all. Not a lot of people doing in-depth coverage on volleyball, soccer, all that stuff. So give us a follow. Share it with your friends. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, give us a review. That feels weird to say. I'm not a big... whatever
no mean reviews. My anxiety cannot take it.
I pretty much watch all podcasts on YouTube, but I know that people listen on Spotify and Apple. So if that's your thing, we are back on there. We're doing our best to post on there too. Yeah. Just click the button, give us the nice reviews, and let us know what you think.
Do the thing.
And we will, this time next week, we shall hopefully have won another 14 games, or however many games are happening this week for Texas Tech Sports.
For real.
40-0. How many? All the cross country winners. That's got to be at least 30 runners.
Oh yeah,
that's
a good point.
After the weekend.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Let's go.
Until next time, Red Raiders.